Your honey bunny.
Okay. Okay, so what was this activity like for you?
It was hard.
A little challenging.
It was okay. Wasn't that bad.
There was a lot of choices.
But yeah, there was. There was a lot of choices.
Things I never really thought about before, about being grateful for.
So, like, what kind of things that you never thought about before?
Well, just being born in the United States. I mean, right at the beginning and knowing English and not having to come to another country and
Learn the
language, learn the whatever you have to learn when you move here. I mean, I feel like we're blessed. I mean, the United States isn't the best country to live in, but
there's a lot worse.
So
I agree, and also just, thinking about how people struggle with their sexuality or their gender identity and
the violence that can come with that.
Yes, race.
Yeah.
Even being a woman in some of these questions made me think,
like, what was it?
Work.
Being able to walk alone at night without fear of being raped or otherwise harmed.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Being hired about, whether you're going to have a child in the future and if your employer.
If that affects your employment. Yeah.
And about gender, if you're male or female, you get paid the same thing.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. That was one of the ones I picked.
So how did this activity make you feel?
Made me think.
Maybe think of more, like maybe think about stuff I normally wouldn't think
of, like the
right.
privileges that you
right.
do have. Yes.
Right.
That maybe
and I don't even feel like I have privileges. But
right.
Now I do.
But,
right.
And now I feel really
realize
privileged.
all the privileges that you do have without even, but you don't even think about them. Yeah.
Yeah, because
you take for granted.
Life gets pretty basic for after a while. I do the same things every day.
Right.
Take that stuff.
But in our life, we don't have people. In my life, anyway, I don't have people I don't have people judging me for.
Right.
I mean, a lot of those questions were whether you felt judged because of who you were. And I don't think I really ever felt that in my life. So it makes you think.
What other people go through and live
sure.
with. Yeah. So, okay, how did you go about picking privileges?
I just kind of skimmed through them and thought of any that would apply to me.
That's basically what I did.
I did too. I mean, there's so many I felt that didn't apply to me.
Right.
I mean, I felt 90% of them really didn't even apply to me. I picked the ones that best suited me.
I think that makes us lucky.
That most of them didn't apply to us.
We had to face those challenges in life.
Okay, what on this list surprised you?
All the trans and the, the gender
identity. Yeah.
But that is coming, not new, but you know what I mean. It's the next
hot topic.
It's the next hot topic.
Yeah.
And the struggles they face. You don't think about.
Right.
I know, even like being able to use the restroom.
Right. Because really, I don't care. That stuff doesn't really bother me.
Right.
I don't really even pay attention to it.
Because it should be a non-issue, right?
To me, it's not an issue.
Right. Right.
Some people have issues with it. I don't care.
Right.
I don't think people choose that.
Right.
I think it's a choice. I think. It's like, I don't know, Sarah, you're the one that told me that the doctors make that decision. Sometimes they have both. Oh, okay.
All right.
Sorry.
It's okay.
But I don't think they choose.
Right. It's not a choice. Right. No,
right.
It's just.
It's who you are.
It's who you are.
Right.
How you're born.
Yes.
All right.
Why do you think this activity is called privilege for sale instead of heterosexual privilege for sale or white privilege for sale or able-bodied privilege for sale or cisgender privilege for sale? Why do you think it's just called privilege for sale?
Because I think it's supposed to be neutral. It's supposed to be something everybody has something in
Yeah, and although not a lot of the privileges may apply to me, I still think, everyone is kind of lacking in certain privileges in their own way. Just
Right.
because you're a white male doesn't mean you're privileged in everything.
Right.
Yeah.
Or just because you're a white female
Doesn't mean you're privileged in everything.
So, yeah, I mean, I think it's definitely something to think about. Obviously, some people have more privileges than other people, but everyone has their thing.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah. Well, and even like some of these on here were about just like disabled people.
Right.
And I never really even thought about, I don't know, my own privilege in relation to somebody who is in a wheelchair or suffering some kind of disability.
Or
So
even living in poverty, or maybe not growing up in a home with lots of intellect.
and how that affects you throughout your entire life.
I mean, I didn't grow up with a lot of money.
And how did that, do you think, affect you? Like now?
I don't think it affected me all that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I try to strive to have better things than I grew up with.
Right.
I mean,
So
maybe
it kind
that's
of
something.
was your motivation.
Yeah, it's my motivation. I keep working, try to live a little bit better than I did.
Yeah.
I think the one that got me was the supportive family. I don't think I don't even think I had a real. There's so many of us that I don't think they had time to support us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I agree with you there because my family wasn't real supportive.
But I think it was the generation, and I know that there was 8 of us. I know we didn't. No, there wasn't time to be supportive.
Right.
Right.
But having that support probably makes a huge.
I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah. No matter where you grew up or how you grew up, if you have somebody supporting you and saying I believe in you, I think
it helps.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't say I didn't have any support.
Well,
Right.
me either,
But
Okay. So, why do you think we chose money? We could have easily said that each privilege was worth a token, and you have 5 tokens. What does money represent, do you think?
privilege.
Money
Right.
in itself is a form of
Privilege.
privilege, right? Having money.
now a lot of people makes that. I think it makes everybody happy.
Well, it makes
No
everybody's
matter,
lives
yeah.
easier.
Well, I mean, it doesn't matter who
Yeah.
you are. If you get money, you're happy.
Right.
So,
Why do you think we gave groups different amounts of money?
everybody was the same.
Well, I think we had to figure out what our priorities were.
Right.
Like it made us think about what is most important.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And I know myself, I had almost too much money that I didn't even use it all.
Right.
So that kind of was a challenge, even
To
as funny as that sounds.
buy all those
Yeah.
privileges.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think I did too, because I say how much I had 1,100,
Yeah.
and I had to make 11 choices, and even that was
And I had
hard, you know.
I only had 7 choices, $700,
And
and
that
it was
was
still too much.
Still too
Because
much.
it seems like more of this relates to different things
Than white
right.
heterosexual
Right.
men. Yeah. And what have you learned from this activity?
That I have it pretty good.
You have a
For
lot
the-
of privileges.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not overly privileged, but I think I have it pretty good.
Yeah.
Just helped me to be more aware, of other people's lack of privileges or struggles they face on an everyday basis.
That we don't normally think of. Yeah.
Sure.
Help me be more empathetic.
Because we're white, and you know what I mean.
We were white. We were born in the United
We actually
States.
were born privileged, whether we
Yeah.
want to think about it or not. And a lot of people aren't. You
Right.
know, they're minorities, and people are racist, and so yeah, it makes you think about the world.
Although
Treat
I
each
think
other.
that's going to split relatively soon. I think we're going to be the minority.
I guess we'll see. One more question. How does this activity and what you're learning from this activity translate into your job or your work?
Well, I know I work in healthcare, so I am seeing a lot more transgender patients, people that don't even speak English. And I think a lot of like our continuing education is focusing on that, and I think that's a great thing. and it is a struggle for me as a healthcare worker sometimes to care for those people without, coming across any certain way. It's definitely a struggle, I think.
Without
Learning
kind
how
of
to
translating
care
that how do I want to say it? Coming off understanding and empathetic without coming off as
without
right,
treating them
treating
any
them
different than
differently.
anyone else.
Yeah.
And if someone doesn't speak English, we have lots of
Do you have translators?
translation services we can go through, and although that can be a challenge in my job, it may seem like a pain in the butt. It's important for those people.
Right.
You know.
Absolutely. Anybody else?
No.
I don't remember what the question was, but I think it's just made me think about how other people live when I really, I'm kind of stuck in my own world and never really. I know I've always wanted to help people, and I feel like I do, but not. I don't even know if I'm making an impact by the little things I do.
I think everybody makes an impact by
I
the
guess that's the
little
only way
things
you
they
can.
do.
The little things pile
Yep.
up. So.
Okay. Well, I appreciate y'all coming here and helping me with this. And I'm glad that this activity gave you the opportunity to kind of look at things in a different way and appreciate your own privileges. And so thank you.
I think everybody should do that, Sarah. It was kind of nice.